Let's play a quick game with some of your co-stars. So
Ooh.
if you were gonna buy, well, who do you think is the best agent besides yourself? Who would you go to if you had to sell your apartment or buy an apartment?
Oh, it would be Ryan. It would
Why?
be. Because he's, even though sometimes we get on each other's nerves, I have so much respect for him. And he's maybe the hardest worker I've ever met in my life. I just know that he would get it done.
What about who has the biggest ego out of these three?
Um, Said with love, because I have also grown to really enjoy this person. It's definitely Fredrik, but his ego is crazy. I mean, some of the things that he says to me sometimes whenever we're showing apartments together, I'm like, that's funny. I was like, but you believe it. I'm like, I know you believe that.
Right. You're like, that's funny, but if you believe it, I'm not so sure it's so funny anymore.
I know. I was like, but there, I mean, Frederick's energy is just so contagious. And so it's like he can get away with having that kind of ego because there's something still so lovable about him. And I'm just like, in the end, there's been some times that I really wanted to choke him, but he's a good guy.
Who do you come up against the most? Like, if you're like bidding on a job, or I mean, we've seen some of this on the show too, or just like
Um,
closing a deal against, like, who do you run into the most in the marketplace?
I'm I'm very excited to say I'm up against a lot of them a lot of the times. And my career has just now gotten to that level that's very exciting for me. I'm like, oh my, I'm competing with the big dogs. And oh,
You're
sorry
there.
about that. Sorry
It's
about
okay.
that. But I was like, I'm competing with the big dogs finally, and it feels, and I'm like winning a lot of the listings. It's not like I hear somebody else's name and I'm like, oh, then I'm not getting this one. I'm like, oh, I have a very good chance at this. Um, and so, but most this year would definitely be Kirsten, the new cast member. We were up against each other a lot. As a matter of fact, it was down to the two of us for this insane listing in Tribeca. And at the last minute, the owner asked us if we would both list it together. And so we're in the middle of our first co-listing ever right now.
That's made for $1 million listing filming right there.
I know.
What about, well, tell us something about her. I mean, the season's back. What can you tell us about her?
Well, I know she was actually somebody that I did have a lot of business interactions with before she was on the show. So more so than any of the other cast members. And, it's just like very interesting the way the world works and the way the universe is, because we had been competing for several listings leading up to her getting cast on the show. So when I heard that she got cast, I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, of all the real estate agents, I was like, this is who we're going to be filming. I was like, okay. And she and I have definitely an evolution of our relationship that I'm excited for the audience to see this season. It's it's interesting to see how much we've changed and grown. And I'll just leave it at that. It's going to be exciting for the audience to see.